The Hampton Financial Group has always been led by men, my father declared, standing behind his mahogany desk in the corner office of our family's bank. That's how it was built, that's how it will continue. I sat across from him, my freshly printed MBA from Harvard Business School still warm in my hands. At 26, I had graduated at the top of my class, completed prestigious internships at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, and developed innovative financial models that my professors called revolutionary. None of that mattered to Richard Hampton III. Dad, I tried one last time. The banking industry is changing. We need to adapt to modernize. Enough, Olivia. He cut me off with a wave of his hand. Your brother Marcus will take over when I retire. He understands tradition, respects the old ways. Banking isn't for women. It's about strength, authority, commanding respect. I glanced at Marcus, slouched in the leather chair beside me, his Yale diploma barely earned with C's and his only banking experience being the times he'd played golf with Dad's board members. Marcus doesn't even understand how credit default swaps work, I said quietly. My brother straightened, his face flushing. I understand plenty. Just because you memorized some textbooks. Both of you stop. Dad's voice cracked like a whip. The decision is made. Marcus will begin training as my successor next week. Olivia, there's a position in HR if you want it. Something more suitable. I stood up slowly, my hands steady as I gathered my things. No thank you. Don't be dramatic, Dad sighed. This is a good opportunity. In a few years, you might even make department head. I looked around his office at the oil paintings of past Hampton patriarchs, at the traditional furniture that hadn't changed in 50 years. At the computer monitor that still used Windows XP because Dad refused to upgrade. You're right about one thing, I said, walking to the door. Banking is about strength. But you've confused strength with stubbornness. Where are you going? Marcus called after me. To build something better. That was 5 years ago. 5 years of working 18-hour days, of sacrificing everything to prove him wrong. I started at the bottom, taking a junior position at Sterling Capital, a small but innovative investment firm. Within 6 months I was managing my own portfolio. Within a year I was breaking company records. But I had bigger plans. Every evening after the markets closed I worked on my true project, Nova Financial. It would be everything Hampton Financial Group wasn't: modern, adaptive, powered by cutting-edge technology and artificial intelligence. While my father's bank still processed loans manually, Nova would use advanced algorithms to assess risk and approve applications in minutes. I sold my apartment, lived in a tiny studio and poured every penny into development. My few friends thought I was crazy, working 2 full-time jobs, my day job at Sterling and my nights building Nova. You'll burn out, they warned. But they didn't understand the fire that drove me. Every time I heard about Marcus's latest blunder at Hampton Financial, every time I saw my father quoted in the financial press dismissing digital banking as a passing fad, my determination grew stronger. Nova's launch was quiet but strategic. We targeted young entrepreneurs, tech startups, clients the traditional banks ignored. Our mobile-first platform and AI-driven services attracted attention from industry insiders. Within 18 months we had a waiting list of customers. I didn't use the Hampton name. In the finance world I was just Olivia Chin, founder and CEO of Nova Financial. If my father ever searched for me online he'd find nothing connecting his daughter to the disruptive new player in banking. Then came the pandemic. While traditional banks struggled with closed branches and paper-based processes, Nova thrived. Our digital infrastructure handled the surge in online banking perfectly. We could process relief loans in hours while other banks took weeks. Hampton Financial Group, like many traditional banks, floundered. I watched from afar as their stock price dropped, as their customers complained about inability to access services, as their outdated systems buckled under the pressure. Marcus's leadership didn't help. His golf buddy approach to banking proved useless in a world of remote work and digital transactions. The board started asking questions about succession planning and modernization, questions my father had dismissed years ago. I kept tabs on everything through industry contacts and the occasional family dinner I couldn't avoid. Those dinners became increasingly tense as Hampton Financial's problems grew. The market will recover, my father would insist, swirling his expensive scotch. Traditional banking always survives. Marcus would nod eagerly, repeating Dad's words without understanding them. Meanwhile, I'd sit quietly, checking Nova's latest performance metrics on my phone under the table. By our third year, Nova had expanded into commercial lending, wealth management, and investment banking. Our client list included some of the most innovative companies in tech and renewable energy. We weren't just surviving, we were reshaping the industry. Did you see the article about Nova Financial in the Wall Street Journal? My mother asked at one dinner about 4 years after I'd walked out of Dad's office. They're calling them the future of banking. My father grunted. Bunch of computer programmers playing at being bankers. They'll crash and burn once their venture capital runs out. I hid my smile behind my wine glass. Nova hadn't taken a penny of venture capital. We'd grown through profit and strategic reinvestment. Our balance sheet was stronger than Hampton Financial's had been in decades. Then came the call I'd been waiting for. Hampton Financial Group is looking for strategic investment partners, my source at Goldman Sachs told me. Their capital ratios are dangerously low. The board is pushing for a major technological overhaul, but they don't have the resources. I sat in my office, not a corner office like my father's, but an open-plan space with glass walls and cutting-edge technology. How desperate are they? Very. Your father's been trying to keep it quiet, but they're months away from regulatory intervention. They need a white knight and fast. I pulled up Hampton Financial's latest financials on my holographic display. The numbers were even worse than I'd expected. Years of refusing to adapt had left them with outdated systems, declining deposits, and a loan portfolio heavily weighted towards struggling traditional industries. Send me the complete prospectus, I said. And keep this quiet, but Nova might be interested. That evening, as I reviewed the detailed financial reports, I received a text from Marcus. Hey sis, long time no talk. Want to grab coffee tomorrow? Need some advice? I smiled. The proud Hampton men were finally realizing they needed help. But they still couldn't admit they needed it from me. The next morning I had my assistant clear my schedule. It was time to set the final piece of my plan in motion. After 5 years of building in silence, of proving every dismissive word wrong, I was ready to show my father exactly what his daughter had accomplished. I opened my laptop and began drafting the acquisition proposal. On page 1, in clear, bold letters, I typed, Nova Financial's offer for controlling interest in Hampton Financial Group. Then I added a personal note. Dear Dad, ready to discuss the future of banking now? 5 years of patience was about to pay off. The Hampton Financial Group was about to learn that strength comes in many forms, including the quiet determination of the daughter they underestimated. The coffee shop where I met Marcus was just across the street from Hampton Financial's headquarters. I watched him through the window as he arrived, his expensive suit wrinkled, his usual swagger replaced by nervous energy. Olivia, he said, sliding into the chair across from me. You look different. I was wearing a Tom Ford suit that cost more than his monthly salary, but I just smiled. How are you, Marcus? He glanced around before leaning forward. Look, I need your help. The bank, there are some issues. Issues. I took a sip of my coffee. Like the fact that your Tier 1 capital ratio has dropped below regulatory requirements? Or that your technology infrastructure is so outdated that you're losing millions in potential revenue? His face paled. How did you dash? I keep up with industry news. I set down my cup. What does Dad say about all this? Marcus ran a hand through his hair. He keeps insisting everything's fine. That we just need to wait out this digital banking fad. But the board, they're not happy. There's talk of forcing him to retire early. And then you'd be in charge? He laughed bitterly. Me? I can barely understand our quarterly reports. The only reason I'm still here is because Dad won't admit he made a mistake. I studied my brother, really looked at him for the first time in years. He seemed smaller somehow, crushed under the weight of expectations he'd never wanted. What do you want, Marcus? Your help, he admitted quietly. You were always the smart one. The one who actually understood banking. Maybe you could come back? Take over some of the modernization projects. I pulled out my tablet and pulled up Nova Financial's latest quarterly report. I'm afraid I'm a bit busy with my own projects. His eyes widened as he read the numbers. Nova Financial, that's yours? Surprised. But they're worth billions. They're revolutionizing the entire industry. Everyone's talking about their AI-driven lending platform and Dad said you were working in HR somewhere. I stood up, gathering my things. Tell Dad I'm free for a meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. His office. What are you going to do? What I should have done 5 years ago, show him exactly what banking for women looks like. The next morning, I arrived at Hampton Financial Group 15 minutes early. The lobby hadn't changed, same dated decor, same faded portraits of past presidents. A security guard I didn't recognize asked for my ID. Olivia Chin, I said, enjoying the fact that my own father's bank didn't recognize me under my professional name. I have an appointment with Richard Hampton. The executive floor was quiet when I stepped out of the elevator. Dad's secretary, the same one who'd watched me grow up, did a double take. Olivia? Is that really you? Hello, Mrs. Peterson. Is he ready for me? She nodded, still staring. He's with the board right now. Some kind of emergency meeting. Perfect. I opened the boardroom doors without knocking. My father stood at the head of the table, red-faced, while a dozen board members sat with grim expressions. This is unacceptable, he was saying. Hampton Financial has never needed outside investment. Actually, I interrupted, you do. Your capital ratios are dangerously low, your technology infrastructure is obsolete, and you've lost 30% of your market share to digital banks in the last 3 years. Every head turned toward me. My father's face went from red to white. Olivia, what are you doing here? I walked to the table and set down a thick folder. Presenting Nova Financial's offer to acquire controlling interest in Hampton Financial Group. The room erupted in whispers. One of the board members, old Mr. Sullivan, who'd known me since I was a child, picked up the folder with trembling hands. Nova Financial, but that's my company, I finished, taking my father's seat at the head of the table. Founded 5 years ago after I was told banking wasn't for women. Currently valued at $12 billion. Perhaps you've heard of us. My father gripped the back of his chair. This is absurd. You can't just walk in here and dash. Your bank stock has dropped 60% in the past year. I cut him off. You're months away from regulatory intervention. Half your commercial clients are considering switching to more technologically advanced competitors. I smiled. Many of them to Nova, actually. She's right, Mr. Sullivan said, looking up from the proposal. These terms, they're more than fair. They're generous. Generous, my father sputtered. This is my bank. My family's legacy. A legacy you're running into the ground, I replied calmly. Our offer would keep the Hampton name, modernize your operations, and protect your employees' jobs. Or you can wait 6 months and deal with the regulators. Your choice. Marcus, who'd been silent until now, stepped forward. Dad, we should listen to her. Look what she's built while we were clinging to the past. The board members were passing around my proposal, their expressions shifting from skepticism to hope. They saw what my father refused to see, a lifeline thrown just in time. All those years, I continued, standing up to face my father directly, you told me I couldn't understand banking because I was a woman. That strength and authority were male traits. Well, look around, Dad. Look who's strong enough to save your bank. I won't be bullied in my own boardroom, he growled. Richard, Mr. Sullivan interrupted, we're calling a vote. Right now. What followed was the longest 30 minutes of my life. The board voted unanimously to accept Nova's offer, with the condition that I personally oversee the integration. My father stood alone by the window as the board members filed out, each stopping to shake my hand or pat my shoulder. Finally, only the three of us remained, me, Marcus, and our father. You planned this, he said quietly, still staring out the window. All these years you were just waiting. No, Dad. I was building. Growing. Proving that innovation beats tradition every time. He turned, and for the first time I saw something new in his eyes, respect, tinged with regret. The Hampton Financial Group has always been led by men, he repeated his words from 5 years ago. Until now, I said, sitting down at his desk, my desk now. Shall we discuss terms? Over the next few months, I orchestrated the merger of Hampton Financial and Nova. We kept the Hampton name for the traditional banking division but modernized everything else. Marcus found his true calling in client relations, freed from the burden of trying to be our father's clone. Dad? He finally retired, but not before spending 3 months learning every detail of Nova's operation. One evening, as we worked late in his old office, he said something I never expected to hear. "I was wrong, Olivia. About everything. You didn't just understand banking, you reinvented it." I looked up from my computer. "Was that an apology?" "It's a recognition," he said carefully. "You're stronger than I ever was. Strong enough to break with tradition and build something better." I nodded, turning back to my work. We still had a long way to go, but it was a start. The next morning, I had the old portraits in the lobby replaced with a single photograph, 3 generations of Hamptons standing together. My father, Marcus, and me in the center, the first woman to lead the bank in its 100-year history. Underneath, a new plaque read, "Hampton Financial Group, where tradition meets innovation." Sometimes I catch my father staring at that photo, a mix of pride and amazement on his face. He finally understands what I knew all along, that true strength isn't about gender or tradition. It's about having the vision to see the future and the courage to build it. Banking isn't just for men anymore. And the Hampton Financial Group is stronger than ever, led by the daughter they once underestimated. Every morning as I walk into the building that bears my family's name, I smile at that photo. It reminds me that sometimes the best revenge isn't proving someone wrong, it's proving yourself right. And as for that old saying about banking being a man's world, well, they probably said the same thing about revolution once. Look how that turned out.